Hello, adventurer. It's good to see you. You have made it to the morning grind.
Welcome, welcome.
It's the live stream at the beginning of the Geekverse, where we talk about all types of topics in geekdom, gaming, and fantasy, with an emphasis on being constructive and creating the things that we want to exist in the world.
It's all on the grind, Sizemore. Can't be too fine, can't be too coarse.
That's exactly right. There are a lot of adventures to be had today. Dungeons to explore and monsters to slay, and who knows what a random encounter might send our way. That's why we have to prepare. So settle in now for the morning grind with your favorite beverage in hand.
Tea? Or maybe something a little stronger. I've got a few bottles of the old Wynyard left.
Whatever you want. Pull up a chair.
Dude.
If you're feeling fancy, how about a cappuccino? Or a frappuccino? Or how about an espresso?
Just tea, thank you.
Sounds good to me, Gandalf. Whatever you want. I'm just glad you're here.
Everyone is welcome. You can just watch if you want. You don't have to worship anything you don't want to worship.
Thank you, Mike. But be forewarned.
Sometimes we get really strange characters around here.
Wait, what's that you say? Why can't you come and be a part of the stream?
My wife would disown me.
Oh no, I bet she'll be fine with it. Come on in.
Am I scared for my safety? No.
What are we supposed to do?
Everybody do the secret handshake.
Secret cultist handshake.
Oh, now do wizards who love each other.
This, my friend, is a science.
I still don't have gills, but it's fine.
It's all on the grind, son. Can't be too fine, can't be too coarse.
Dude, this would be a sick place to bring the band.
Indeed it would be, Dave. It really would. I'm seeing more people coming in. Welcome. Glad to have you here. Oh, look, here's someone new.
Is this the cultist meetup?
Yes it is.
Come to hang out? Please accept me. I have nothing else.
Okay, we accept you. Everyone's welcome here.
Brought some snacks.
Well, that makes things even better.
You want some coffee?
I don't drink coffee.
You sure? It's cultist coffee.
What makes it cultist coffee?
I'm a cultist and I'm drinking it.
Oh. Then I'll have some.
What exactly is going on here?
I'm seeing more people coming in. Welcome. It's so great to have you. Oh, and look, here comes another stranger.
Can we help you?
Yes, fellow cultists. I could really use some food.
Oh yeah? Welcome. We have donuts.
Oh, it's me. I'm glad I'm here. I'm sure you have a few questions for me, though.
What's your name? Who do you work for? What god do you worship?
Great questions, Rob.
I'm Steve King, and I worship Nyarlathotep.
No, not really. I'm just Heath, and I won't be worshiping anything this morning. But I will be your host. Welcome to the office. We're going to have a great time. I've got my coffee ready, because now it's time for the morning grind.
If you could become a fish, that would be amazing. Then I could command you with my mental fish powers.
Hey, good morning, everyone. Good morning. Welcome to the office. It is here for another Monday of the morning grind. I was up and working early, but yesterday I spent almost all of the day working, actually ended up cutting grass. I did not get everything done I was trying to get done yesterday. It just goes to show you everything takes longer than you think. I was cutting grass yesterday, so I didn't even get to move into a bunch of the other things I was supposed to do. Although I did get some house cleaned, so I'm going to have to spend another day trying to work on house stuff, like soon, outside and inside. And I screwed up something with my knee yesterday. I guess I pulled it cutting grass or something, and been hobbling around all over the house this morning. Hey, oh, well, wonderful. Welcome, Inner Light. Wonderful. Good morning. Good to see you here. Micah is here, and so is Mike Hansford, one of our channel members, and it's Jason. Oh, I saw this, talking about the AI stuff. Heath, I know one of the things you were interested in is, would an AI make a good GM? I have to say, with some caveats, that GPT-4 can. You do have to provide a system to it. It doesn't. It seems like it knows 5e pretty well. like at least when it comes to like character design or something like that. Hey, Robert, coffee. I got my drink this morning. And in this case, I'm using that should be Neverwinter Nights, I believe. It's created a pretty complex campaign before. Oh, but I'm somewhat entertained by it, so that's always good, but it requires a human implementer. The ability to remember is seems to be an issue with me. Like I looked at that Dungeon AI, and then I went back and looked at Dungeon AI not long ago, and I was still extremely underwhelmed by it with like the first couple of sentences. Because it seems like it needs to be paired with some type of database that understands something and can keep some things persistent in the world. Hey, Sable Phoenix, good morning, and Andrew Jappards. So Sable Phoenix says, honestly, from what I've seen from it so far, I'm a lot. Yeah, my idea was that we would take a look at the Black Flag system today, and actually, Sable Phoenix kind of similar here. Sable Phoenix says, honestly, from what I've seen of it, I'm a lot less interested in Black Flag than I am in Indestructiboy's Vagabond game or Matt Corville's Unnamed System. Oh yeah, I forgot that Matt was making a system. I saw something about that. Somebody pointed that out to me, and I went and watched that video, and it was a long video. And okay, so basically he's making some kind of system. So okay. So I noticed that today, this was on my list to do. I noticed that today is the last day to kind of provide feedback on it. And I kind of feel a little bit the same way, Sable Phoenix, because, we've looked at a couple of different 5e variants. Like we took a rather extensive look at Advanced 5e, Level Up Advanced 5e. And I was kind of surprised by that when we were going through that, because I was like, why isn't anybody talking about this system? So we've got Advanced 5e that's seemed to do, like if you were just going to do 5th edition, but you wanted to improve it, it seemed like Advanced 5e seemed to go in that direction. And seemed to be a lot of things that I liked about it. I mean, there are always some things you don't, but I was like, okay, well, this seems pretty good. I was surprised when I was really excited about Black Flag originally when it was announced. And then they've kind of gone that, oh, well, this is kind of like a revision of 5e. So I did also get less enthusiastic about it. So I'm not sure how much we continue to follow it. It's just going to be based on basically my interest. Or if you guys really love it, then I guess we can continue. But I noticed this was the last day for feedback on Playtest Package 2. And so I was like, well, it's been on my list to look at. Might as well go ahead and look at the second package and just see what's up. Even though you're right, I think they kind of lost a little bit of momentum there in what they were doing. I forgot about because I was looking at what Matt was. Excuse me, I was looking at what Kobold Press was doing, and then what Mark Tassin was doing. Because Mark Tassin, he's a friend of mine with what he was calling the Cool Name RPG. So that was being developed. So I want to continue to look at that. We've also looked at a bunch of these OSR things, and I guess we haven't even looked at some of the big classic OSR games. I mean, there's just so much stuff out there. And I don't know. I don't know if we need another type of fifth edition revision. I'm not sure. Hey, Stargate Mind. Good morning. We'll be looking at Psionics soon. Zero Theory is here. It can remember, but then you run it. Well, right. Yeah, you run out of tokens quickly. That's the issue. Micah says, yeah, AI Dungeon is basically requiring more akin to classic adventure games like Zork, limitations on actions rather than truly an open game. Well, for me, limitations on actions isn't the problem, but like 2 or 3 sentences in, it wasn't even coherent, generating a coherent story, based on what it told me previously. Sable Phoenix says, Matt's game design sensibilities are on point. I have his Strongholds and Followers and Kingdoms and Warfare books, and I'm waiting on delivery of Free Mortals. Everything from MCDM is good. Yeah, so I've played in a game that used Strongholds and Followers. I've got it sitting over there on the shelf as well. So the 5e thing is beat to death, in my opinion. Plenty to play if you don't want that experience without playing D&D now. Yeah. Talking about John, that was John Searle, right? John Searle is one of my favorite philosophers. Inner Light says, I will try to take some screenshots once the thing is completed and share them with the Discord. AI for fantasy and gaming sounds good. Yeah, so I've thought a lot about Chinese rooms, whether or not you're talking about, if you're not familiar with the Chinese room, you can look up the Chinese room on Wikipedia and stuff like that. Can you fool someone into thinking that, like, for instance, that the person inside knows Chinese, even though they're only doing symbol manipulation? All right, so I don't know. So let's go ahead and take a look at it today and just see, give it another shot. Go ahead and go through what's going on. Didn't they name it? Did I hear they were actually going to get a name that's not something that's that's not going to be Black Flag? I noticed that in the playtest material, it was calling it like the core role-playing game rules or something like that. So let's go ahead and bring it up, and then we'll just see if it's so they've got another shot here. You know, and there's so many, especially with the OSR we were talking about, or whether, well, you know, the I'm losing train of thought this morning. The Deathbringer, that's what I was thinking of. Deathbringer, you know, that was basically house rules, a set of house rules for 5th edition. So we've got all kinds of modifications for 5th edition. Everybody's got it out there. And so when I was thinking about, like, who's going to be, like, it seems like there could certainly be the Pathfinder of 5th edition. Who's going to come out and, but on the other hand, there's no reason to do that as such, because they keep saying Wizards of the Coast, and I have not been following this recently, but they keep saying that, oh no, this is all, everything we're doing with 1D&D is completely compatible with 5th edition and all of that. And I know they've released some other playtest stuff, right? I think we, you know, long ago on the Morning Grind, we did take a look at what Wizards of the Coast was releasing, and that was even before the OGL debacle. And I think, did we look at one of those or 2 of those? It wasn't more than 2 of those, but it may have just been one of those. So, you know, they're generating some other kind of revision for 5th edition as well, whatever that is. So there's less incentive there. If somebody just really wants a revised version of 5th edition, it seems like, well, Wizards of the Coast is doing that anyway, right? Has anybody else really gone through the playtest material for 5th edition from actually Wizards of the Coast? So I don't know. It does seem like it's less interesting. So we're not going to do it just for the sake of doing it. So we're going to take a look at it here for today, and then who knows? If we like it, then we'll continue. If we don't, then hey, it's time to move on. Yeah, I really love John Searle's writing style. The core fantasy RPG, Micah says, is I think what it is for a temporary name. Hey, good morning, Vision. Good morning. Black Flag is more evocative. I was like, the Black Flag RPG, that's what you should have stayed with. People talking about consciousness in the comments. I don't think we'll ever have that. I don't think that's an important thing to consider. Like, do we need to I've got a theory on that. There's no, we don't know what that is, and I thought about writing that up. I don't think it'll ever matter. Okay, so how to use this packet? What is this? What have we got here? So this is playtest packet number 2. Okay. Because I also actually, an issue was that there actually wasn't a whole, oh yeah, let's breathe and sit. But also an issue was that when we released playtest packet number 1, it wasn't really something that was completely playable, right? So that also, I think that also hurt it, right? That, okay, here is some information, but it was like substitute other stuff from 5th edition in to actually be able to play it. And so I think that hurt. I think that hurt it when it was released, because it wasn't actually something that you could just jump in and immediately play. So, hey, grab your drink here. Everybody got your drink ready? Let's breathe. 2 deep inhales, complete exhales, and then let's sip. Okay, much better. So we do have luck here. Every PC, you know, we've been over so many of these that are so similar. It's starting to all kind of run together. So we do have luck here, especially when lots of things will have like a luck mechanic, and then a luck mechanic, and you got to remember which luck mechanic that is. So here, a PC with luck points can spend them as a 1-to-1 bonus on any D20 roll they make. For instance, if you have luck points and roll a 13 on the die, you could choose to spend 2 luck points to make your result a 15. Oh, so this is not a re-roll or anything like that. This is just bonus points. You can choose to spend your luck points in this way after you make a roll. But okay, so now here we've got this right here. You can choose to spend your luck points in the way after you make the roll, but before the GM declares whether the roll succeeded or failed. We had an extensive discussion about that in the Ravenkeep Discord server, which I suppose I should put the link out to. I haven't been around quite as much because I was out working. Went to see John Wick and then went out working yesterday. So I'm going to have to go working again. Hey, Ravenkeep Discord server. So there were lots of different opinions on whether or not you can, whether or not that's good or not. So if these are on a meta level, so these are not something that seems to be in play, the player chooses whether or not to use them. You make the roll, and then you decide whether or not to use the roll and whether or not you succeed. And then before the GM determines whether or not you succeed or fail, which means the game master has to remember not to say, make a DC 15 strength roll, because the player is not supposed to have that information when they are rolling their dice, because they might want to spend luck points, which is different from fate, right? Like when you're talking about fate and you're talking about fate points, you're talking about a system where you know what your target is, and then you roll and you're like, do I want to spend these fate points in order to actually make this happen or not? Or you realize that with your roll, you can't make it happen. Actually, I think in fate that you can decide to pick up your dice and completely re-roll them. So you could potentially make it happen that way. But see, that's the thing. The game master has to remember that the players are not supposed to have the DC of the check when they are rolling. Alternatively, immediately after you make an attack roll, ability check, or save, you can spend 3 luck points to re-roll a D20 used for that roll. Again, you can choose to spend luck points in this way after you make a roll, but before the GM declares whether the roll succeeded or failed. So 3 luck points gets you a complete re-roll. I suppose it says a D20 here because if you have advantage or disadvantage, I suppose you get to re-roll one of them. How are people feeling about that? Coke Zero over there. Yep. Thank you, everyone. Please do hit the like button. There was, like I said, there was a large amount of discussion on exactly that subject that's come up right here on the Ravenkeep Discord server. I'm not sure, like, I'm supposed to understand what this luck is. Like, if this is something that's completely metagame, or is it supposed to represent something inside the world? So let's take a look at gaining luck points. When you first create your character, you start with 0 luck points. Over the course of your adventures, you gain luck points in the following ways. Once per turn, when you fail an attack roll or save, you gain 1 luck point. Boy, that sounds like the 2D20 system that we looked at with Conan, right? People were saying that one had a great like meta currency system. Once per turn, when you fail an attack roll or a save, you gain 1 luck point. The GM can choose to award 1 luck point to a character, typically as a reward for coming up with a clever idea, demonstrating excellent role playing, or pursuing an interesting rather than optimal choice. Luck points can be awarded to a party for surviving difficult encounters or achieving story goals set by the GM in addition to XP. So you're actually supposed to have quite a few of these things. So these things are supposed to make up for the fact that that you can roll low. That was one of the things that 2D20 was doing, right? That if you fail some kind of check then you get luck points. Or it wasn't, I don't know if it was called luck points or not, but it was something like that. And actually, they could be shared among the players, right? There ended up being like a pool or something. Like you got them, and then they would go to some type of pool or something that anyone could draw from. So if you got somebody who's rolling really poorly, which often at the table that seems to be me, you're rolling really low, you're rolling really poorly, you're failing attacks or save, then you're building up these luck points. So if you just have an abysmal encounter where you can't do anything, which I've certainly had those, you're going to end up with a bunch more luck points. This is kind of the inspiration kind of thing, right? But then also adding them in as XP. Daniel says, except I think that not knowing the DC runs against the design of a luck point resource. Because my point was that if you don't know it and you decide to expend it, then not only did you fail at this roll again, or fail trying to do something again, but you also expended your luck points. Zero Theory says, not my play style. Like I said before, I think it would suck to entice a player to spend a meta resource and then have it come up short. Wah wah, sad day. Right, yeah. Game stores nationwide were selling luck points or rerolls for $1. It's awful, LOL. Sounds like DM Scotty's D6 system. I have to remember. I have to recall that. I don't really remember a whole lot about the D6 system, other than I remember liking it as something that I thought that, oh my, like I could definitely play this with the nephews. But if you're not getting points often enough, I can justify not spending without knowing the DC. I can justify spending without knowing the DC. Yeah. So apparently you are supposed to be getting a lot of them, or you could potentially be getting a lot of them. A PC can only have a maximum of 5 luck points at a time. If a PC has 5 luck points and would gain a 6th point, they must immediately roll a D4 and reset. They must immediately roll a D4 and reset their luck points to the result die. So you're supposed to keep these things flowing. I guess that's to keep these things flowing. I wonder why you can actually go back down then. If you've got 5 luck points, you'd better go ahead and spend it. PC wisdom. The cap on luck points is meant to encourage players to regularly spend their luck points instead of holding it. Make sure to use it often so you don't risk using it. You must take risks regularly to make your own luck. Behind the curtain, if possible, make sure to actually give the system a try at your gaming table before providing playtest feedback. We've had several internal playtesters who thought the system looked too clunky and difficult to manage on paper, but found it very fast-paced and easy to use if they actually got a chance to play with it. We're eager to hear if you end up having the same experience we had. The luck system is intended to completely replace 5e's inspiration mechanic. One of the goals with which I think poorly done. That's another one of those systems in 5e that I think is poorly done. 5e has so many of those. One of our goals with the luck system is to add a fail-forward reward component to minimize the sting of failure, particularly in combat. There's nothing worse than feeling like your turn is wasted due to a string of bad rolls. Okay, character classes. We've got a progression table, level, proficiency bonus, hit die and hit points, proficiency. So class options at a glance. Do we just have fighter and wizard in here? Okay, so fighter. What do we need to look at here? I guess over here with class features, hit points, D10 per fighter level. First level, we're maxing out the hit points and we're adding con. We've been back and forth on that with all kinds of games, right? Hey, Zero the Blade. Yeah, but everyone will just use that last one at 5 luck points instead of letting it possibly roll down without using the first 4. Unless they absolutely need it. Zero Theory. You got to be sure you've got the GM with that mindset. I can see many forgetting about luck or just being stingy about it. They need to be clear about rewarding it freely in the rules. Hey, Brent. Yeah, but so that's one way to get it, though. It seems like the main way to get it so characters, GMs might remember that from some time. But then once per turn, I mean, I can see handling this with some type of token at the table, and you just have a pile of them and say, hey, everybody remember that when you fail a save or fail a roll or fail an attack roll or fail a save, it does say when you fail an attack roll or a save. It doesn't say when you like fail a ability check. So it's kind of a combat thing. But hey, everybody, remember, when you fail one of those, reach out and pick up one of those tokens on the table. Because that's not in the Game Master's hands. This one's the one that the Game Master's got to remember. But if you're designing the adventure, and you're supposed to be designing the adventure with luck points for XP. Okay. Saves con and your choice of strength or dex. So what type of fighter you want to build. Starting equipment, mail shirt, leather armor, longbow, or 20 arrows. A martial weapon and a shield, or 2 martial weapons, a light crossbow and 20 bolts, or 2 hand axes. A Dungeoneer's pack, or an Explorer's pack. Last stand. When you take damage that would reduce your HP to an amount less than half your hit point maximum, rounded down, you can use your reaction to spend 1 or more of your hit dice up to a number equal to your proficiency bonus. Immediately roll any expended hit dice. You regain HP equal to the total sum of all dice rolled plus your con modifier. That's like the second wind or something like that from 5e. Once you use this feature, you must complete a long rest before you can use it again. So this is going up to 8th level, I guess. So proficiency bonus over here. But now I wonder if that's... So in 5e, I was looking this up this morning because I was looking at the different classes I was doing for Tales of Rabavania. So proficiency bonus is based on total character level, not a certain class level. So everybody goes to... So if you got like 2 levels in Rogue and you got 3 levels in Fighter, then you're a 5th level character, so you get a proficiency bonus of +3. My guess is that's the same kind of way it is here. I think we skipped over proficiency bonus. Probably not important. Except 3 points is a reroll, so I don't see it too many holding out until 5. I'd more likely re-roll than take my 4th point. I prefer giving luck dice more freely, no capping. Encourages more regular use. That's why I have hedge and ante in the Farad system. Burn the negative early to keep it from being used later. Action surge, discipline, improvement, multi-attack. Improvement, discipline feature, improvement. So, martial action, first level feature. Your tactical expertise allows you to act quickly on the field of battle, granting you unique combat actions called a martial action. Is this like the DCC thing? Aim requires wielding a ranged weapon. Make a ranged weapon attack against the target before the end of your turn. You double your proficiency bonus for the first attack roll. As a bonus action, okay, so as a bonus action, you take the time to increase the effectiveness of your next ranged attack. So double your proficiency bonus on the first roll. Guard. As a bonus action, you raise your shield to intercept incoming attacks. When you use guard, select 1 enemy creature within 5 feet of you. That target has disadvantage on the first attack roll it makes against you, or an ally within 5 feet of you at the start of before the start of your next turn. Quick strike requires wielding 2 weapons. As a bonus action, you can make a weapon attack with a light melee weapon you're holding. You add your ability modifier to the damage of this attack as you would with normal weapon attack. And the light melee weapon has the thrown. If the light melee weapon has the thrown property, you may choose to throw it for this attack. Behind the curtain. In 5e, a 2-weapon fighter is required to use their attack action before they can use their bonus action to attack with their offhand light melee weapon. The intention of Quick Strike feature is to remove this dependency, allowing a fighter wielding 2 weapons to use their action as they please and still get to make a bonus attack with their offhand weapon. I don't remember a lot of the... I don't remember a lot of the 5th edition 2-handed Florentine rules, except for I remember that trying to look them up for some kind of character that was had them at the table, and there was some kind of issue with it. I don't remember what it was. Wind up. As a bonus action, you take the time to increase the effectiveness of your next weapon strike. When you use the wind up, select one target you can see within 5 feet. If you make a melee weapon attack against the target before the end of your turn, you double the proficiency bonus for the first attack roll. Action surge. Push your body to its limits. Gain an additional action on top of your regular action and any possible bonus action. So discipline. So your basic capabilities as a warrior has reached their peak, and it's time to choose a discipline at which to focus your training. Choose one of the disciplines from the options presented later in this section. Your discipline grants a new feature when you reach 3rd and 7th level of the fighter class. Improvement, 4th, 6th, and again at 8th, choose one of your, ability improvement. One ability score of your choice by 1. And to choose a talent for which you meet the prerequisite on the martial talent list. So you do get both of them here. You do get both of them. So instead of having to choose between do you do your stat improvement or do you take a feat, we now have these talents and things like that. And that's why one reason it was saying that the Black Flag characters are a little bit more powerful than the 5th edition characters, because they get basically a feat at 1st level. And then 2 attacks at 5th level. Spellblade progression, fighter level. Okay, so that's a discipline. So this is a casting. I got rain coming in. So if that's what you hear. Quick strike is a minor but useful update. Since you don't have to do a standard action if you do other actions. Quick strike is a minor but useful update since you don't have to do a standard attack action if you have other actions you want to try with your full action. Oh. I was caught up on the ordering. In 5th edition, a 2-weapon fighter is required to use their attack action before they can use their bonus action to attack with their offhand. So now I see. Allowing a fighter to do something else with their action and then still hit with their light weapon. I got you. Disciplines. Okay, so Spellblade. Fighters of the Spellblade discipline do not view fighting with swords or sorcery as separate paths, but as a logical marriage of power. For you, the arcane can be picked up and wielded as if it were a weapon, and honing your mind is just as important as honing your body. So we talked about making everybody a caster, right? That. How do we balance fighters with wizards? And one of the ways to do that, potential way to do that, was like in 5th edition. Well, basically, let's make everybody a caster. But so here we actually have a way to have a fighter wizard. So this is kind of, to me, is this kind of like the Blade Singer from 2nd edition from AD&D? I remember I played a Blade Singer elf. So 3rd level Blade. So if you're choosing a Blade Singer, you get Arcane Spellcasting at 3rd. Enchant weapon and expanded talent list, and you're getting cantrips and 2 1st level spell slots with 3 spells. I guess that's your 2 cantrips and your 1st level spell. That sounds pretty good. Sable Phoenix says, Savage Worlds does luck points better, in my opinion, with their bennies. I remember that word. I'm feeling the crunch in it, too. Not that that's bad, but it's definitely there. Micah says, yeah, it's better for martial casters to say grapple with your action and stab the already grappled creature with your bonus action before the grapple. Blade Singer is just a subclass of wizard, arguably one of the most powerful ones granted, but it's still a full wizard. Looks like Black Flag is trying to do a magus instead. So at 3rd level, we just looked at spell slots you get. Enchant weapon, 3rd level. Your first step on the path of the Spellblade is to learn how to imbue your weapons with magical power. If you spend 1 hour of uninterrupted focus in contact with a weapon, which can be done during a rest, you can imbue that weapon with a limited form of enchantment. This enchantment lasts until you choose to end it or use this feature to enchant a different weapon. While you hold it, your enchanted weapon functions as a magic weapon that grants +1 to attack rolls and damage rolls made with it. The weapon ceases to be magical when it isn't on your person, but otherwise, it follows the rules of a typical magic item. Spell multi-attack. When you use your multi-attack feature to make multiple attacks with the attack action, you can replace one of those attacks by casting a cantrip you know with a casting time of 1 action. You can't cast more than 1 cantrip in an attack action this way. So Weapon Master is another one of these focuses. So Weapon Master, mastery stunts known, deadly flourish stunts known. So what is this? Most fighters feel a deep connection to their weapons, but none more so than the Weapon Master. For them, a favored bow or blade is a natural extension of their body and trusted ally against danger. Warriors who pursue the Weapon Master discipline learn to utilize their chosen arms with unparalleled efficiency and artistry. Okay, so we got now here a bunch of stunts here. Arcing strike, cheap shot, hobbling strike, make it count, parry, riposte, run through, shifting strike, sweep the leg. So when you successfully hit a creature with a weapon as part of the attack action, you can immediately move to a different unoccupied square within 5 feet of that target. This movement doesn't count against the normal amount of movement allowed on your turn. That's shifting strike. So this is done by like stunt points. You get proficiency bonus +1 stunt points. So you got to expend the required stunt points in order to do these. You regain expended stunt points when you complete a short or a long rest. Behind the curtain, we intend to add even more choices to the stunt list as playtesting continues. So make sure you let us know what types of weapon-based stunts you want to see in future packets. Deadly flourish, weapon attacks made with weapons you have mastered. Score critical hits on 19s and 20s. Oh, Mages is from Pathfinder 2. 2nd edition. Wizard. So we also have Wizard here. D6 hit points, 6 plus your con. Wizard spell progression here. First level is Arcane Spellcasting and Arcane Recovery. 3 cantrips, 1 ritual. So we do have another column here that's talking about how many rituals are known. And then 2 first level spells, and then going up from there. So I guess we'll see what it says here. Preparing and casting spells. The wizard progression table shows how many spell slots you have available. Let's make sure there's nothing different here. To cast your spells of the first ring and higher. To cast one of these spells, you must first expend a slot of the spell's ring or higher. I guess ring is what we're using instead of level or tier. You regain all expended spell slots when you finish a long rest. To prepare the list of wizard spells that are available, the list of wizard spells that are available for you to cast. To do so, choose a number of wizard spells from your spell book equal to your int modifier plus your wizard level. This spell must be of a ring for which you have spell slots. So we still do have the 3-level distinction here. We've got what spells are in your spell book, which spells are actually prepared for you to cast, and then using slots to cast those that are prepared. For example, if you're a 3rd-level wizard, you have 4 first ring and 2 second ring spell slots. With an intelligence of 16, your list of prepared spells can include 6 spells of the 1st or 2nd ring, and any combination chosen from your spell book. If you prepare the 1st ring spell Magic Missile, you can cast it using 1st ring or 2nd ring slots. Casting the spell does not remove it from your list of prepared spells. It's not memorization. It's not AD&D memorization. But that's kind of standard for 5th edition now, right? Okay, so ritual casting. As a wizard, you have access to a special type of long-form spell called a ritual. You do not need to prepare ritual spells to cast them, and they do not expend a spell slot when cast. At first level, choose 1 ritual of your choice from the Arcane Circle ritual list. Okay, so there's another list. From the Arcane Circle ritual list. You learn additional arcane rituals of your choice at higher levels, as shown in the Rituals Known column of the Wizard Spell Progression table. Each ritual spell you learn must be a ring for which you have spell slots, as shown on the wizard progression table. Rituals you learn do not count against the number of spells you learn at each level. Arcane Circle Ritual List. I guess that's going to be someplace. Okay, player advice. The ability to find spells out in the world and copy them into your spell book is one of the most unique elements of the wizard base class. So make sure you keep your eye out for spell books and spell scrolls during your adventures. If it has been a few sessions since your character found, or at least had an opportunity to purchase such treasures, ask your GM about creating more opportunities to expand your spell repertoire. So, Arcane Recovery. You have learned to regain some of your magical energy by studying your spell book. Once per day, when you finish a short rest, you can choose expended spell slots to recover. The spell slots have a combined ring total equal to or less than half your wizard level rounded up, and none of the recovered slots can be from the 6th ring or higher. For example, if you're a 4th level wizard, you can recover up to 2 rings worth of spell slots. You can recover either a single 2nd ring slot or 2 first slots. Okay. Anything standing out to us about wizards here? Magic Sense is 2nd level. Your growing field experience allows you to perceive nearby magical workings. As an action, you can open your awareness to detect magical forces. Until the end of next turn, you know the location of any creature with the ability to cast spells, ongoing spell effects, and the ability to cast spells. Wow. Or magic items within 30 feet of you. So this is like detect magic. If the magic effect is the result of an ongoing spell, you can learn which school of magic the spell belongs to. The sense can penetrate most barriers, but is blocked by 1 foot of stone, 1 inch of common metal, a thin sheet of lead, or 3 feet of wood or dirt. Use this feature equal to your proficiency bonus +1 until a long rest. So basically, they're just making detect magic something that you can do a lot instead of having to use the detect magic spell and use a slot or a preparation slot for that. Arcane Tradition. All right, you're going to pick that at 3rd and 7th. And then Improvement. Oh, yeah, 4th and 8th. Got it. So what are our arcane traditions here? Battle Mage. Those who wield magic are capable of great and terrible things, and consequently, spellcasters have always had a place in the armies of magical societies. Those who follow battle mage tradition are not interested in the theoretical musings or tedious experiments so beloved by other wizards. Instead, battle mages relentlessly pursue new ways to enhance their power so they can destroy their foes and defend their allies with ever greater efficiency. So we've got expanded talent list, spell ward, tactical caster, and then contingency plan. What is tactical caster? 3rd level, whenever you cast a spell that deals damage, you can choose yourself or any number of allies you can see to be immune to the damage caused by the spell. Contingency plan at 7th level is whenever you fail to hit a creature with a spell attack, you can use your reaction to attempt to redirect the spell toward a different target within the spell's range. You must make a new spell attack roll for that target. So, okay, so we talked quite a bit about, well, what happens when you miss you got to make a spell roll and you are expending your spell slots and then you miss. That really sucks. As we've looked at other games that are actually going to make you roll to cast a spell, although it seemed like those that required rolling to cast a spell did not require a second roll to attack. But in this one, if you are a battle mage and you fail, your spell attack roll fails, you can redirect the spell and try to hit something else. Micah says, Magic Sense is definitely a bit nice, but you can't just choose to use more slots without resting if you don't have enough proficiency bonus uses. It only lasts up to the next turn, no longer. So worse off in the long run than using Detect Magic. But you can't just choose to use more slots without resting if you don't have enough proficiency bonus uses. Hey, James. So, Cantrip Adept. It's easy to dismiss the humble cantrip as nothing more than an unsophisticated spell practiced by hedge wizards that proper mages need to focus on. But clever and cautious wizards sometimes specialize in such spells because their other mages fret Because while other mages fret when they're depleted of arcane resources, cantrip adepts hardly even notice, and at their command, cantrips aren't so humble. Behind the curtain, we ultimately chose to include the cantrip adept as an arcane tradition option in this packet because it originally appeared in the 5e subclass of Kobold's Press Tome of Heroes. We wanted to play with an example that would confirm and consequently show how easy it is to convert existing 5e options to core fantasy role-playing. I was reading again some stuff from the Angry DM. He was talking about why it's important to track ammunition and arrows, because in 5th edition, ranged attack is the superior strategy to melee weapons, but even more superior to long-range missile weapons is using cantrips. And so now we have this, which is making that even better. So I'm interested to see here. Okay, so Arcane Alacrity, 3rd level cantrip adept feature. Whenever you cast an arcane cantrip that has a casting time of 1 action, you can change the casting time to a bonus action for that casting. You can use this feature a number of times equal to your proficiency bonus, and you regain all expended uses when you finish a long rest. Cantrip Polymath. You gain 2 cantrips of your choice from any spell circle list. For you, these cantrips count as arcane circle cantrips and don't count against the number of cantrips you know. In addition, you can learn or can cast from any other source, such as from a lineage or talent, count as arcane circle cantrips for you. In addition, any cantrip you learn or can cast from any other source, such as your lineage or talent, counts as an arcane circle cantrip for you. I could see myself trying out one of these cantrip wizards. Potent Casting. At 7th level, you can add your proficiency bonus to 1 damage roll of any arcane cantrip you can cast. Hey, Draco. Sable Phoenix says, changing cantrips into infinite use spells is one of the things that 5th E screwed up from 3.5 edition, in my opinion. It's all power creep, right? Because, the idea is that, well, gee, I remember somebody being like, well, what is the wizard supposed to do when they're out of spells? Like, grab a crossbow and start shooting a crossbow? That used to be the thing they were supposed to do, right? I think that in 3.5, they wizards got crossbows or something like that. So, the wizard is supposed to pull out a crossbow. And then now you can fire as many different cantrips as you want, and they're very similar to crossbows, like as far as damage and things like that goes. So now they just basically always have a crossbow on them, which does make more sense, I suppose, than the wizard pulling out a crossbow, people would argue. But then they don't have they don't have any type of component, that they don't have ammunition. So, but Sable Phoenix does say the most damaged cantrips in 5e suck. You get a saving throw against them, and if you save, you take no damage at all. And so I suppose that's part of what they were trying to solve here with at 7. And it's all the way at 7th level, though. You can add your proficiency bonus to 1 damage roll of any arcane cantrip you cast. And you do get to cast more of them with this Arcane Alacrity. Talents. I think this is something that's completely new. So talents represent the specific way an adventurer has improved over the course of their adventures. Micah says, tracking ammo works if a DM chooses to pay attention, but the same goes for spell components, verbal, somatic material, which many ignore. I use a dice stare in the Farad system to potentially run out, but know when it's going low, since you're down to your last die worth. Like a usage die. Yeah, I never see people tracking, because I don't think you're supposed to. Like, there's the standard, the general material components for your spells. So I guess this is like a feat. Behind the curtain, the talents in this section marked with an asterisk originally appeared in the Playtest Packet 1, but now have slight modifications. We have only included the talents that require slight modification to clarify how they are used. But as with all playtest material, these are not the final version that will appear in the game. If you don't see a particular playtest packet number 1 talent here, that doesn't mean it's no possibility of it being changed later based on feedback. Okay, so magic talents. Most magic talents affect a character's spellcasting abilities, but they also include features that strengthen the mind and defend against harmful magic effects. Mental fortitude. Oh, so this must be one that changed. Through rigorous mental exercise, you have fortified yourself against those mind-altering effects. You gain the following benefits. Once per long rest, when you fail an int, wisdom, or charisma save, you can choose to re-roll the save and take the new result. You must declare your intention to re-roll after you have learned you failed, but before the GM has resolved any consequences of this roll. If you are affected by an ongoing spell due to failing intelligence, wisdom, or charisma, you can repeat the save at the end of each of your turns, ending the effect on success. So behind the curtain. A lot of you focused on the confusing language of the first bullet point in this talent in your playtest feedback, so we wanted to re-include it here in hopes of providing clarification. The intention of the sentence is to make it clear that a player must use this feature immediately after learning they have failed the roll, but before the GM does all the work of illustrating what a failed roll means in the game. So we've got a bunch of different situations. Sometimes we said that, like with the luck, okay, you're going to use that after you've rolled, but before you found out that you failed. Now here we've got something that you use after you roll and after you found out when you failed, but before the application of that failure. It is our hope this inclusion trains players to stay aware of their abilities, so the GM isn't put in the tough spot of calculating full damage, reading off a long description, walking through full consequences of narrative failure, etc., and then have to take it back when a player suddenly remembers that they can use this feature after the fact. Yeah, Micah says talents are basically feats. Zero Theory says spell components have always been a real hand-wavy thing at my table unless it's got a serious cost. And I think I remember that being a thing. That, like, if it says it's a diamond of a certain amount or something like that, then you got to keep track of it. But otherwise, just general, like, you either have your spell component pouch or you don't. I suppose the spell component pouch can be taken from you. But Zero the Blade says the whole purpose of the arcane focus is to eliminate the component requirements, which is weird. Micah says 5e made it easier to have a spell component pouch or arcane focus, druidic focus, etc. So yeah, even with that, there are spells you can't ignore costs, and silence or blindness are clutch. Sable Phoenix says that's another thing that bugs me about spells in 5e, the repeated save against effects. It basically relegates all spells to just a few combat rounds of usefulness. Micah says, true, but that balances out against removing all control and agency from the players hit by effects, a la the old save and suck mechanics. If you fail, it should last a few rounds instead of one turn if they're lucky. Oh, here is Ritualist. Oh, did we look at our list of whatever is supposed to be our rituals here? So, Ritualist, when your study of magic has unlocked the mysteries of ritual spells. When you gain this talent, you also gain a ritual book, which contains the rituals you know. To cast a ritual spell, you must have your ritual book in hand. Choose one of the circles of magic: arcane, divine, primordial, or weird. You must choose your rituals from that circle's ritual list. Regardless of which circle you choose, use your normal spellcasting ability for the spells. When you first gain your ritual book, add one ritual of each spell ring that you have already unlocked via your spellcasting class. For instance, a bard that selects this talent at 4th level has spell slots for 1st and 2nd ring, so they would add the 1st ring ritual and 2nd ring ritual to their book, one of each. Each time you gain access to a new ring of spell slots by gaining a level in your spellcasting class, you add one new ritual spell to your book. The new ritual must be from the same circle of magic you originally chose and must be of a ring for which you have spell slots. For instance, when a bard reaches 5th level, they gain access to 3rd ring spells. So the bard will select one ritual spell from the 3rd ring or lower to add to their ritual spell book. School specialization. So this changed. What do they say about it? Well, they didn't say anything about it. So hand-to-hand martial talents. There's something that's changed over here. I suppose that's interesting to clue into. So through regular practice in wrestling, boxing, or engaging in other form of martial arts, you have mastered techniques that allow you to effectively fight without the use of weapons. You gain the following benefits. You are proficient with unarmed strikes. Your unarmed strikes deal bludgeoning damage equal to d6 plus your strength. You have advantage on ability checks made to initiate or escape to grapple. So, man. So characters created using core fantasy role-playing are not automatically proficient with unarmed strikes, which is a deviation from 5th edition rules. Excuse me. This change has a variety of mechanical implications, like giving greater value to selecting a talent like hand-to-hand, but ultimately the change was made for narrative reasons. After all, how many people do you know of that can throw a great punch with zero instruction or training? A character without proficiency in unarmed strikes no longer gets to add their proficiency bonus when they make a melee attack roll with an unarmed strike. If you are not proficient with unarmed strikes, a successful attack with your unarmed strike deals bludgeoning damage equal to 1 plus your strength modifier. Okay. Touch of luck. You have culminated a knack for making the best of a bad situation, and fortune's favor always makes its way back to you. You gain the following benefits. Whenever you would gain a luck point as a result of failing an attack roll or save, you instead gain 2 luck points. That sounds good. If you have 5 luck points and would gain a 6th point, your luck point total resets to d4 plus 1. So this is a technical talent. Technical talents affect features that are not strictly tied to combat, granting utility-based improvements to social encounters, exploration, and object interactions. That one sounds good. It says, behind the curtain, while we understand you won't be able to select the touch of luck talent if you are strictly using the content presented in this packet. Wait, what? We still wanted to share it with you to preview how we're thinking about using future options that could interact with the new luck mechanic. Oh, so I guess somebody said like the wizards must have access to the magic talents, and the fighters must have access to the martial talents. So it didn't give any way to anybody to have a technical talent yet, I guess. Micah says, going back to spellcasting, I think you do something like +1 round per amount you failed the DC. There's meta knowledge of how long it lasted after a fail, but already meta of knowing an amount was too low. So spellcasting. Behind the curtain. Excuse me. This section includes a mix of new material woven with sections of the spellcasting rules that originally appeared in the System Resource Document 5.1. We chose to include those SRD sections in here for ease of use during playtesting, but as with all playtesting material, this is not guaranteed to be how the spellcasting rules will appear in the final version of the game. Okay, so we're using rings, circles of magic. All magic requires energy. The 4 circles of magic represent the 4 primary sources that fuel the abilities of spellcasters. Every time a caster produces a spell, they integrate their personal ability with the energy contained within the circle of magic. The section of below details the 4 circles of magic and explains their role in spellcasting. So arcane, the arcane circle, the divine circle, the primordial circle. So primordial circle draws its power from the primal energies of nature. The primordial caster causes a forest to sprout from barren land, split the sky with a violent storm, or restructure their biology to transform into a beast. Whereas the weird circle of magic draws its power from the forces that sit beyond measurable reality. A weird caster can draw unnatural energy into existence to form a math of rising tendrils, summon another creature from a different plane to fight on their behalf, or banish their foes into the spinning void beyond reality. Harnessing weird magic requires the caster to free their minds from normal perception and open themselves to the possibility of what lies beyond the measurable universe. So like Lovecraftian Cthulhu mythos magic sounds like. Spell rings, spell slots. So if this is a rewrite of... we do have schools of magic as well. So we've got rings. I was wondering if that replaced it, but there are schools of magic over here as well. Practitioners and sages have attempted to quantify and categorize the infinite complexities of magic into 8 universally recognized major categories of spells. The spell schools don't have any inherent influence on the spell, but they are useful for identifying the spell's effects. Specific class features or other abilities may refer to these schools. The 8 schools are broadly explained in this section: abjuration, conjuration, divination, enchantment, evocation, illusion, and necromancy. Oh, and transmutation. Known spells. Okay, here's rituals. So some classes, like the wizard, have access to a special type of long-form spell called a ritual. Ritual spells are uniquely powerful magic that takes 1 minute or longer to cast and often requires costly material components. Like normal spells, a caster can only learn ritual spells associated with their circle of magic. Ritual spells don't expend spell slots like normal spells, which means ritual spells can't be cast at higher rings. Otherwise, ritual spells follow the normal spellcasting rules. Your character class determines whether you have access to ritual spells and how many ritual spells you know. So behind the curtain, ritual spells have been altered from the way they appear in 5th edition to clarify how and when they should be used, because that was also a weak point of 5th edition. I mean, I'm for that, because the ritual spell, why not just basically say if you're out of like you could cast certain spells as rituals, so why not just say that, well, out of combat or whatever, you can just cast them or whatever. So by placing spells with longer casting times into a separate category, we're emphasizing that ritual spells are not meant to be used in combat, encouraging players to think of them as tools to aid with exploration and social encounters. So there's actually a division there. So there will be spells, and then there will be other things that are rituals based on casting time. Because of the mental focus and precise gestures required for spell casting, you must be proficient with the armor you're wearing to cast a spell. Player wisdom in casting time. It says the spell action economy rules are written to prevent characters from using their action and bonus action to cast spells from the first ring or higher on the same turn. However, if your class gives you access to cantrips, you can potentially cast both a cantrip and a first ring or higher spell on the same turn. So now we have spell lists. So we do have the arcane spell circle cantrips, first ring, second ring, third ring. Arcane ritual circle rituals. So here we go. The following rituals are available to casters that draw power from the arcane circle. These are Alarm, Create Familiar, Identify, Illusory Script, and Unseen Servant from the first ring. Second ring, Arcane Lock, Arcanist Magical Aura, Magic Mouth. Third ring is Animate Dead, Clairvoyance, Glyph of Warding, Magic Circle, Phantom Steed, and Tiny Hut. So behind the curtain, note that spells in core fantasy role-playing are either ritual spells or not ritual spells. There are no longer spells that can be cast as normal spells or ritual spells. This is a deviation from 5th edition rules. Okay. There are schools, but there are not subclasses, I think, Neutromancer says. Good morning. Good morning, Neutromancer. So, okay, so I guess we are just splitting these things up. So, and because one of the things that these ritual spells do not take slots. So I think that's one reason to do that. It's not just time. It's not just time. Spell descriptions. Okay, and that wraps that up. What do we think? What do we think? I mean, like I said, I'm having the problem. It's like, what do I play, right? What would I go and play? Because we have looked at a bunch of different systems, and we've got so many different systems coming. I don't even know what to say. Is this better? I mean, probably than 5th edition. Like I said, probably. There are a whole lot of problems with 5th edition, I've come to think. So this probably fixes some of them. But there are a lot of people who are trying to fix 5th edition, so I don't know what I would use. Zero Theory says it's a thing. So I'll have to. We'll have to check out what Matt is. Maybe I'm not really in his well hooked into his social media and stuff like that. But if let me know if he releases something that we need to look at and I haven't noticed yet, because we'll check out what he's doing. We'll continue to check out what Mark Tassin is doing. Neutromancer says, I think it's fine. A lot of people trying to make the next 5e patch, both to fix things and because of the OGL thing. Sable Phoenix says, I think it's incomplete and that there's too much good stuff out there for me to play test something I'm not really interested in playing. It seems to me like there are better 5e hacks out there. Zero Theory says, I'd play it if that's what the table wanted. I mean, I agree with that. I don't see myself reaching out to this game as a GM. Yeah, I mean, I would never, like, if people are playing a certain game and I've been invited to the game or are coming, like, whatever rule system they're using, like, I wouldn't ever balk at, because rule system is particularly low on my list of requirements. Neutral Master says there's something called Project 5.4, which sounds like another attempt at this. I haven't even heard of that. Project 5.4. Seems like cryo RPG engine. Well, we'll see. We're just swimming. We're swimming in RPG systems, and it's like so. This is like somebody's, like, they're all extended house rules. I mean, they're extended. It's not just a short little pamphlet or something like that, but extended revisions, because people had that. I mean, people had that back in AD&D days. I mean, I know that people, like, you just couldn't publish them. There was no way to access the internet and everything else and just publish out your house rules. Otherwise, I'm sure people would have been doing that for AD&D as well, unofficially. But, you know, like, there were people who had just notebooks and binders full of material that they had house ruled for AD&D. Robert says, will 6th edition be any better? Wizards doesn't seem to want players to die. Maybe it's OP. Yeah, I have no idea what they're doing over there. But it's probably, well, I have no idea. I mean, is it similar? Has anybody been looking at it? Is it similar to what, I don't even remember, but similar to what Kobold Press is doing? I don't think the stuff most people want to fix in 5e are fixable in the 5e structure. Micah says, I think Quick Strike is an improvement. The rest is either not much of an improvement or a decrease in utility for those things like detect magic, but more for people who rarely used. You'd have to tear it down to its roots and rebuild it. Definitely incomplete, Micah says. Pathfinder already did that, and so did 13th Age. Yeah, so Pathfinder 2nd edition, I guess, is tearing it completely down and then rebuilding. Thank you, Mike. Yep, hit the thumbs up button and come over to the Ravenkeep Discord server. Let me drop that link over here, and then we're about to wrap up here. Do you know what I think about? I keep thinking about the Deathbringer dice. Robert Sable Phoenix says 6e will almost assuredly be worse. Like, I can't see that in the direction that role playing has been going. I would find it difficult to think that 6th edition would be more to my liking. The real problem is that 5th edition, that WotC is only publishing player-facing contents. There's no help for the DM. Some guys I played with had a mishmash of AD&D 2nd edition and D&D 3.5. Worst of both worlds, LOL. All right. Well, I guess I'm out of here. I've got to go, like, shower or something like that. I was feeling off my game today, but I got to get back to work here, and it's pouring down rain, so I guess I'm not going to be able to get outside, although I may be able to do some cleaning in here. But otherwise, I got a bunch of writing I got to do. Everything is writing. All right, everybody. I have enjoyed it. Thank you so much for being here with me. I hope you have a creative day and a productive day. And until tomorrow, grind on.